Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to this short reading on Saturn and Aries. As you know, on February the 13th, Saturn is going into Aries. So I'm not an astrologer, I have to say that, but I wanted to place it in the context of my oracle deck, but also the light language and what that could mean for everybody. So there are some just general themes that I can talk about. And they don't come from me, so this is like general information, but then I shall share more what comes from me. So this is about disciplined fire, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's all about I am, so it's about building your confidence, and without aggressing people, like without the anger and the aggression. As you know, Saturn is the lord of karma, so we're talking about instant karma. I saw that somewhere because fire is so potent. So it means also it kind of gives wisdom to Aries, doesn't it? And slows it down. So if Aries is super impulsive, Saturn gives it the structures and then kind of contains it in a way probably that will be kind of testing, I would say. So it's leadership through accountability, self-authority. It might feel a very frustrating energy because, as I say, this is very fiery, immediate, very active, and Saturn is always about patience and mastery, disciplined anger, and learning to channel it properly, which I talked about in also the fire horse. So it's like a double whammy. It's self-reliance, I'll do it myself energy, endurance, because Saturn gives you the endurance where you would probably just let it go. It's actually going to help you follow through, which is very cool. Bold action, but strategic bold action, strategic risk-taking with long-term vision. So we're moving away from the impulsive Aries into a more mature energy. You still have that energy, that fire. So basically, they say here that the ultimate gift is becoming a mature pioneer. Someone who initiates with integrity and has staying power. So this is a process. I think it's staying until it's 2 years and a bit, until April the 12th, 2018. So now that we know all these big generalizations, I hope you heard that. Now that we know that there's all these generalizations, what is it that we can do? And for this collective, I'm going to say what is it, this collective, like what would be the spiritual ally, the main spiritual ally, so the light language symbol, that would be the most useful for this collective. Okay, this one jumped out. Joy. Tayata. Tayata nakashiti tiakati atiata kanakachichi kayati ayati kini akayati titiakiatina atiki atikiti atikiti atakatakachu atakata atichi ananaki titi akati a watiti ananana. So take a deep breath. Let's receive that light language transmission. I think what I would say is in life, and this is going to sound like the biggest platitude ever, so I'm still going to say it anyway, but this is the Saturn part of me speaking. I think if we can transmute all the heaviness and the structure and see it as a container for our joy, and be playful with it. Like, okay, this is where I'm feeling contained and I really want to go ahead and I can't do it and I'm feeling held back. Like if we can infuse that with joy and see it for what it is, like it's actually helping us move forward and bring the joy in the process and make it like, yay, this means that long term, it's like an approach, it's like a mindset thing, right? Okay, this is not working against me, this is working for me, and make it playful. Then I think you have a winning proposition. So you can remember, I always say these light language symbols, they're intelligent, they know better what we need than what we do. So have it with you, have it around you, meditate, sleep with it, have it when you're working, let it work through you, and just kind of let it. See, this is, I always say this is raising consciousness for dummies, because the symbols do the work. They're intelligent symbols. Ayana ayasi akashiana ashiana kashiti ayete ayana kashi ayete ayana kashi. We also had this card for the fire horse, which actually I just thought of now. So there's like a, it feels like a double whammy, like a lot of fire and a lot of containment at the same time. So it's like, it feels like you want to go, you held back, you want to go, held back. And it's like you're held back every time, just to make sure that instead of just forging away like a crazy horse, you take a step back and you integrate. So if you haven't watched that reading, go and watch that one. I think there might be some pointers there that could be useful for you. I want to say that, you know, the fact that we have joy and exhilaration, so 17, it's also number 8. 1 and 7 is 8, so it's also a card of abundance. It's like we have a double whammy of joy and exhilaration this year. So don't forget to bring it down into your body, and that's what I say in the other video, because joy can stay very much up in your head, and you need to have it down in your body to share it and broadcast it and transmit it to the world. That's part of the world service that we all have. Okay, so I wanted more information. So we've had this card before, gathering your tribe, finding people you connect with, finding people. I see this also as being surrounded by people. So if you find that you're embodying the Aries part for most of the time, like that's more of your energy, then you need to surround yourself with people who are more Saturnian, have the Saturn energy, who can teach you how to contain it, but also collaborate with you so that you can contain it. You know, because this is a winning proposition. When it matures, when the energy knows how to co-create and weave together, right? These two need to weave and learn and figure themselves out. So you can imagine that it might be a little bit chaotic and a little bit like rebellious at the beginning. It's like this wild child who comes in contact with a really mature adult, and the wild child wants to do exactly what it wants, and the mature adult's like, no, we need to go to bed at this time, we need to eat at this time. So it's a really structured energy, this Cancer, and it's probably going to irritate the hell out of the Aries. So finding people who are not phased by the Aries, and vice versa, right? So if you're more the Saturnian person, you might want to associate yourself with Aries, somebody who has this very fiery energy, or who has more fiery energy. And that's a great collaboration, even though it might be a little bit tense at the beginning. And then, so gathering a tribe, so having people who understand your energy and who can bring it to life is also part of it. It also points to community, right? And whatever we can create. I say that there's a card in my Oracle deck that's called Cooperation, but it also points to community, which is 1 + 1 = infinity. And what that means is, you know, when we pull our energies together, we can achieve so much more than when we do it individually. And it tends to be the opposite of competition. So because this is kind of the Aries can be super competitive. So yeah, gathering a tribe, making sure that you're properly surrounded by the people who get you, the people who understand you, and you can play to your strengths. So that maybe there's less resistance and there's more playful connection. Remember, we have the joy card here. Don't forget the joy, you know, because frustration is a very strong energy. Well, okay. So I was going to ask for 3 tea leaves. So we have temporary situation. So I'm seeing this as frustration is a temporary situation, especially, and remember, I'm encouraging, I'll put the link to the fire horse reading, but you know, frustration is temporary. If you bring it down into your body, you channel it and you direct it. And the antidote for that is actually dancing. I encourage people to dance every day and to stop also. I think it's at sundown. Like you need to give your body time to integrate and to integrate, to make sense of the energy. So if you're feeling very frustration, the key is just to know that it's temporary, and it will be really temporary if you do something with it. Don't let it just kind of do its own thing like a wild child, right? This is Saturn. You're giving it a container. You're giving it a form. You're giving it a structure on your own terms. Kangaroo, unsettled times, need to plan ahead. Hello, Saturn. Need I say more? So, yeah, remember it's a co-creative process between Saturn and Aries. And then finally, look at that. 4-leaf clover, great good fortune. I mean, so I see it really as you're going to be really tested. Like it feels like for a lot of people, it's going to be a very testy energy, just because it's an unnatural combination and a really rebellious combination. And remember that both of these have amazing, I say Saturn is the lord of karma, so and they talk about instant karma. So whatever you do without the right intention, I'm going to say, it's like you'll get straight back into your face. It'll come back right around really quickly, because that's Aries, right? So spontaneous, so quick. But I think it's actually a match made in heaven if you think about it. Well, especially because we have this 4-leaf clover. But like if you can really understand how these energies can really work together, and know that the structure, the slowing down, every time you want to forge ahead and you have to slow down, you feel really frustrated, just channel that into something creative, or especially movement, because all that fire needs, movement. But look, great, good fortune. I think it's going to be 2 really interesting years. This first year is going to be very, very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the animal next year, the Chinese element, shows through and what it changes. But hey, we have joy. We have, this interesting co-creative partnership. We have community, emphasize community, and associating yourself so that this relationship works. And then you have, remember that the frustration will be temporary if you do something, but this one makes me laugh. I don't even think I need to explain it. It's gonna be testy, and so part of the testiness is that, it just feels like this wild child and this very mature adult who are trying to have a conversation, and they're on different planets. Literally different planets, and the communication is a little testy, right? So part of it is learning. Hey, maybe that's why in my Valentine's reading I talked about nonviolent communication. This could be the moment to go and do that workshop. Anyway, but lots of joy and exhilaration, and look at that, we end with great good fortune. So enjoy this transit. I think very dynamic. Lots of movement, very challenging if you decide to make it challenging. So this is a call to come back to this reading and the transmission, and to help you integrate it, and help you. The light language transmissions are very cool because they do the work. They're a bit like the symbols. And I say you just use the symbol, right? Have the symbol with you. But the transmission does the same thing. It kind of recalibrates you without you having to do anything or to think about it. I was going to say to you, don't even think about it. Like, okay, the intention is we learn how to co-create between these two, use the transmission for that. And I'll anchor it with a transmission now just to finalize it. Ayena shika wati. Ayena shita ayate ke uate kaishiti ayate anaki hueshi ayata hayashiti i. So if you're struggling with these energies, come back to this transmission and just listen to it again, like the beginning one and this one, and just let it just do the work for you. That's the whole point of these readings, is that you're tooled up, and it's not such a violent process, but a general recalibration that your body just loves, and then your mind just catches up. So enjoy the Saturn in Aries transit for the next 2 years, and until next time, Atikai.